Zurück! Ritirata! 了解 Enemy force sighted on the horizon. Enemy battleship sighted.
We've sunk an enemy destroyer. Off to a great start.
All forces, capture that area. Ah, Neptune's beard. Support the Allied target. Concentrate fire on the enemy warship. good show.
Torpedoes, direct front. Torpedoes, direct front. Torpedoes, dead ahead.
I need help.
The enemy is about to win.
Ho bisogno di dati.
I need intelligence data. Well done, Commander. Much obliged, Commander.
By thunder.
やっちまったぞ。
Torpedoes to port. Torpedoes, direct front. Torpedoes to port.